In 2009, the Asia-Pacific market became the world's biggest aviation market, 5 years earlier than expected. More than a quarter of the 2.2 billion people who flew last year, that's 647 million people, flew within the Asian-Pacific market. By 2013, IATA predicts that the Asia-Pacific market share will grow to almost 1/3 of the total market, with an additional 217 million people flying. Now, this year, IATA is also forecasting that the aviation industry will make $8.9 billion in total, of which $5.6 billion will come from the Asia-Pacific region. That's nearly 60% of the profitability, coming from 25% of the total market. Serving this massive increase in passengers and this highly profitable market is an enormous challenge, but it's going to be an enormous opportunity. Again, IATA notes that in the US, there are 3 aircraft seats per year for each of the 300 million people who live there. China's population of 1.3 billion is served by only 0.3 seats per person per year. India's 1.1 billion people is served by only 0.1 seats available per person per year. If Asians traveled as frequently as people in the United States, that alone would triple the size of today's global market. This is an incredible opportunity for Australia and an incredible opportunity for Qantas to be living so close to the center of the aviation universe. But it's not necessarily going to be easy to take advantage. There are significant risks. There is the country risk that occurs when dealing with nations with very different economic and political systems. There are the partner risks when you're required to form joint ventures to do business, and because of the complex traffic rights, in every venture we have in Asia, we have to form partnerships in order to avail of those traffic rights. Competitive risks can include abrupt regulatory changes or government-related interferences. Cultural risk is also a problem in dealing with very different and diverse cultures. And then there are also the resource challenges of finding properly qualified pilots, engineers, management, and expertise in those areas to be able to focus in on the opportunities that take place. So the question might be, why not stand back and wait, given these many risks? Why not let the Asian markets develop and step in later? The answer is that the rewards are potentially enormous if you are the first mover and build the required scale. We are taking the risks because we believe we can manage them and because we want the significant rewards that we believe exist. Jetstar today is one of the fastest growing airlines in the Asia-Pacific region, with destinations to 17 countries, including Australia. It has 2 ventures in Asia, one in Singapore, one in Vietnam. And we have shown that we can combine the power of the Jetstar brand with the naming and the ownership requirements of particular jurisdictions and thereby do business across multiple operating certificates. Of course, when we buy into foreign carriers, we must play by the rules of those jurisdictions, and we do pay a price in complexity, costs, and challenges. Access to Asian opportunities is much harder for us to achieve with Qantas. And obviously we recognize the constraints imposed by the limitations on the foreign capital in the Qantas Sale Act.